A shocking warning. Bitcoin did this in 2018, and it could happen again. All right, that's what we're going to be talking about. Welcome back to the Crypto Astro channel. None of this content is financial or investment advice. This content is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. At the end of this video, I will show a shocking chart that could foreshadow the Bitcoin price action for the next 3 to 6 months. It's a really, really interesting chart that you don't want to miss. Okay, let's take a look what's going on here. So we have this weekly close coming up, and we want to close above this level, honestly, because we see this 21 SMA line here, simple moving average. Typically, Bitcoin holds that as support in a bull market, and we could potentially do that, but we have many more hours before this weekly close. So we want to stay above 62,700, ideally. All right. And now we're going to be talking about some really, really interesting things that I'm seeing with the technical analysis with the RSI and the stochastic RSI that potentially happened in 2018 and could potentially be repeating. And this is definitely a warning because we don't want to see this repeat. Just FYI. So what do we have here? And guys, we just got to be honest with what we're seeing on the charts. All right. This is not fear mongering. This is just looking at the cold hard facts, which we want to do. We want to do this as investors, if we want to be successful. Okay. So we have this, RSI where, it's hitting three areas on this chart. Trend line, and we just broke out of that. So that's the good news. But the negative news potentially is, let's talk about a couple more things that are good. So we have this stochastic RSI cross in June, and that was a fake out. It just came right back down. Or sorry, we had a stochastic RSI cross up, and then it faked out. And then we had a second one, stochastic RSI cross up. That was in July, and then that got rejected again. It fell right back down. Then we're getting another stochastic RSI cross, which typically is bullish, but could we be seeing another fake out, or is this going to continue back up like this? And we're going to get that information very, very soon, in many more hours. So that'll be very, very interesting. Now, the fascinating thing is, when was another time in history that this happened? Was 2018. Let's take a look at this. We go all the way back in the history books to second half of 2018. Let's take a look. Well, the price action, first off, was below this 21S simple moving average line, and it was staying below. So that's one thing that we definitely do not want to do. When we go ahead, forward to where we are now, we have been dumping below that. So that is definitely caution there. It's definitely a warning there. We definitely want to get above this 21 SMA line, just like I said at the beginning of the video. All right, so, but yeah, there's definitely caution there. But if we take a look at what was happening with the RSI, well, it wasn't a bit of a downtrend. Yeah, like that, and it didn't break out until, as we know, 2019, March. But let's take a look at the stochastic RSI. So we got a cross here, and then that was rejected. We got a second one up here. That was a fake out, and then we got a third one, and that got rejected as well. So we had 1, 2, 3. Now they were higher high and another higher high, but they were all fake outs, meaning they didn't get fully all the way up to really past 80. They didn't get up into the 90s, closer to the 100 area where it's usually towards the peak of the bull market. Yeah, so we got those fake outs, and then it just fell back down. And what happened during this time? with the Bitcoin price chart is if we can see it up there. We'll bring it down a little bit more. So we got the first fake out around here where price action got rejected from the 21 SMA. We got the second fake out here. It didn't even touch the 21 SMA, still holding below that line. And then the third time, we attempted above it, and then that got rejected as well. So that was a bit of a fake out where it was looking like even got a weekly close above the 21 SMA, and then it got rejected. So, man, we are once again on knife's edge in the crypto markets right now. We definitely want to close above the 21 SMA, and we want to hold it as support. We do not want to keep dropping below it because, I mean, look at what happened in 2018. After we got 3 fake outs, then things did not get any better. They got worse, you know. And it was, how long was it even after that last fake out? It was like 105 days, more than 3 months of just sideways action, and then it fell off a cliff. And then we did not get back up to that level until 315 days later. Yikes. So it was almost a year later. All right, so that's the worst case scenario, is that, I'm not necessarily saying this is going to happen, but the worst case scenario that almost a year from now, Bitcoin, we get back up to this price. So that's worst case scenario for sure. But, you know, I think it's really, really important to be aware of the worst case scenarios, the risk, and also the best case scenario. Okay, let's see what else. Oh, and I also am going to look at the astrology because that's what we do on this channel. What was happening in the astrology during this time? And do we see any correlations with that and this stochastic RSI crosses and this downward price action? And then compare it to today's astrology. What do you guys think about that? What do you think about them apples, huh? Alrighty. So here's the astrology from 2018, during the time that this was happening. There was actually some positive astrology, which is really interesting, but not all positive. Okay, that's what we're going to talk about. So we're getting this bullish transit. However, we had this bearish transit, Saturn conjuncting the Bitcoin Mars. And that hit on November, right when we got that major dump, November 2018. So that was trouble. I mean, anytime Saturn conjuncts one of the planets on the Bitcoin chart is really bad news. Man, and that's proven historically. You know, but at the same time, we were getting a lot of positive transits. So there was a mixed bag. There was even some reasons to be bullish, but I mean, man, Saturn really took over the show and dumped Bitcoin like crazy. You know, this was bearish as well. Saturn squaring the Bitcoin moon, heading right in towards the end of October when we got that huge dump in November. So man, Saturn really brought destruction and limitation and contraction. But it was a bit confusing because there was also positive astrology that's slightly positive. This was fairly positive. Uranus sextiling the Bitcoin Venus. So, I mean, this proves that even with some positive astrology, if there's stronger negative astrology, that can really tank things. All right, so interesting there. And next, we are going to take a look at where we are now. And we saw the that stochastic RSI cross. I mean, we haven't fully confirmed a fake out, but that is not looking great. I mean, if we zoom into this, you know, it looks like it's about to cross there, and that would not be good. So we're on a knife's edge here. once again. And for those who just want good news all the time, like, guys, we have got to be honest. We have got to be neutral. We have, not got to keep our emotions in check. We always have to stay present in the moment and look at the charts without getting emotional about it, which means not assuming that things are just going to go up, up, up. We really got to have our, make sure we're not putting all our eggs in one basket. And we have things like stop limit orders and stop losses to make sure that everything's not going to go to what if the markets tank. Okay, so so we have that there, and the price action, is on a knife's edge. I mean, look at this. We're right at this exact level. All right, so what's happening in the astrology now? Let's take a look at that. So in the astrology, I mean, there is this slight negative. It's not a super huge thing to worry about. We're not getting a direct hit, but Jupiter squaring the Bitcoin Saturn. Not super bad. This one's actually positive. Pluto conjuncting the Bitcoin Jupiter, but slightly, because it's not getting a direct hit. This is very bullish. Saturn sextiling the Bitcoin Sun. Direct hit October 15th. Jupiter stationing retrograde, which typically brings major market shifts. We're getting nice positive transits on the 15th and on the 17th. That's looking good. I mean, that's in a couple days. It's looking quite good. So we could, I'm sure hoping if everything just follows what the astrology is doing, which is not always true, but it's sure helps. More often than not, the astrology seems to be true so far. So I would be hoping for a nice pump there, and the astrology is backing it up in the next couple days, at least. Mars opposite the Bitcoin Jupiter on November 3rd. Not good. Not so great. And that's the day of the U.S. election. After that, we then get Jupiter squaring the Bitcoin Uranus on November 14th. That's not so great. All right. And so that's a brief overview of it. I mean, it's going to be Saturn sextiling the Bitcoin Sun, positive transit, going against these slightly more negative ones. So it's a bit of a mixed bag. All right. It's a little tricky. All right. So in a moment, let's see if I missed anything. Oh, well, one other thing I wanted to share is about the total lunar eclipse. All right, so what's to come in the future? We also have Mars retrograde that we have to be cautious about. That's coming up on December 7th. As that can bring major market shifts. Typically, Mars retrograde isn't super great. So we got to be cautious about that. And then much later, we then have Venus retrograding. That's all the way in March 2025. All right, so that's much later where, we got to be aware of that. I mean, the last time Venus went retrograde, we had a long, drawn-out dump and then sideways price action. So that's happening March 2nd of next year. The last time, if we go back, the reason that's significant is because if we go back to 2018, when that happened, when we were looking at the chart earlier, we got Venus retrograde October 6th, 2018, right before Bitcoin fell off a cliff. All right, so that Venus retrograde really brought pain to the market. And there was a Mars retrograde before the third RSI fake out on June 27th. So if we go all the way back to that, that was, you know, way back when here, which we were looking at. And so before the third RSI fake out, right before this one, we had Mars retrograde, and the markets just traded sideways, and then we got Venus retrograde, and then it fell off a cliff. And we can see that on the price action. So right around here. Oh, sorry. All the way back here, we got Mars retrograde. Then it started. I mean, just like it's just sideways price action, just so painful. This is one of the worst markets to be in when it's just going slightly down and sideways price. And you're hoping that it's just accumulation, that it's going to pump, and then it just falls off a cliff. So it was during the Venus retrograde that it fell off a cliff. And the other things is that if we look at the chart where I recorded the total lunar eclipses, we had 1, 2, 3 total lunar eclipses. And historically, these are bear markets. I mean, look at this. Typically, when we have the blue lines, it's in a bear market. All right, so we were having total lunar eclipses, 3 in a row. We got 3 fake outs in a row, and the markets just fell off a cliff. Now, I mean, the slightly better news is that we are in solar eclipses, which typically is a bull market. We're not going to get the total lunar eclipse until March 10th, which is also when there's the Venus retrograde. All right, so so there is still hope, but we don't have, you know, we only have like, 5 more months or so? 6 more months, something like that, if I'm doing my math correctly. I'm a little tired today. The math brain isn't working super well currently. Yeah, so that's the good news is that, there's still hope with, we're not getting that Venus retrograde and that total lunar eclipse until then. Okay, a reminder is in a moment, I'm going to share a shocking chart that could show us where Bitcoin is headed for the next few months. Would y'all like that? But first, a quick announcement. There's only one more spot for the Crypto Astro Mastermind with special coupon code. And this special coupon code is to the moon. And I'm going to give you all an $100 discount for this month only. And there's only one more spot for that special coupon code. All right, so whoever jumps on it gets it. All right. The next call is happening. So this is the Crypto Astro Mastermind is a monthly group call. I'm going to be diving much deeper than I do in these videos. I go much deeper into macro analysis, deeper dive into the astrology, the Bitcoin astrology. I can look at a bunch of top altcoin astrology. I can look at your favorite altcoin astrologies, and you can ask me your specific questions about crypto and astrology. It's super amazing. It's super high value. You're going to love it. All right, so on this next call, coming up in a few days, I will be covering a critical update for the Bitcoin astrology, as well as the best time that I'm thinking about buying altcoins with 10x to 20x potential. Guys, there's not a lot more time left potentially to jump on some of these top altcoin picks that truly could get 10x to 20x potential. Well, I mean, once the markets start pumping, which could be soon, once the markets pumps, typically we miss those like 3x initial opportunities that can lead us into the 10x potential. But if we miss that initial major pump, and sometimes in crypto, pumps can only last a few days or just a week. And if we miss that week, we could miss out on those initial gains that we need in order to get that 10x to 20x potential. I'm going to be diving into that on this next call. But of course, not guaranteed, not financial advice. It's just what I'm doing. It's just the analysis that I'm doing. All right, so here we go. Let's take a look at this interesting chart. Some of you, if you're really smart, you may have guessed this, but take a look at this chart. All right, so if you haven't noticed it, this is the chart of gold. I just thought this was really interesting. Does this not look a bit like kind of some of the price action that we're seeing right now? This is gold back in 2020, 2022. Take a look at this. So it peaked out, and then it kind of did this slow, drawn-out grind, and then it got a double peak It did fall off here, started to rebound, and then it got another triple top before heading back up. All right. So really interesting because Bitcoin, we're potentially hitting a double peak right now. Are we going to do something like this where we then hit a triple peak before then on the fourth time, or really maybe the fifth time it broke out? I'm not trying to be a downer. I'm just looking at charts, guys. This is but very interesting. I mean, what if Bitcoin did something like that? So Bitcoin, as you know, is looking like this. I mean, actually, well, we got one. So going back to 2021, we got one peak, two peaks. So that's a double top potentially. Three, that could be a triple top. Are we gonna get like? I mean, are we gonna get like four and then maybe five and then we break out? Certainly possible. What do y'all think? I thought that was quite interesting. Could gold be foreshadowing the price action that we're going to see in crypto? All right. Thanks so much, guys, for tuning in. Let's see what we got here. Any hints to what else? Not right now. You should definitely sign up. All right. You're welcome. You are very welcome. We'll have our all-time high before March 25th and then having our bottom around March 26th. I'm not sure what you're talking about there. Just one day. It goes from peak to bottom. Very interesting analysis there. Okay, so I wanted to share. I got a request to play my Morning Star song again. Okay, guys. So this is a song that I just like made up impromptu on one of my videos, and then one of my viewers is very, I guess, musically talented, and he made a song with it. So check this out. I need to change one of the settings here. And then I'm going to put the volume up. All right, guys. So we're going to jam out to this song. All right. Peace. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Let me know in the comments what you think. Let me know in the comments where you think we're going, where the Bitcoin price action is going in the next couple months. And I'll see you on the next video. What do you guys think about these smooth jams? Thanks so much for tuning in. All right. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. And I'll see you on the next video. Peace.